Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Woman of the Week mini-series of the Purvakyan podcast. आज या आठवड्यामध्ये आपल्याबरोबर एक वुमन ऑफ द वीकच्या फील्डमधली अ मॅच्युअर एक्सपर्ट आहे. 3rd इयर बायोटेक्नॉलॉजी स्टुडंट ठडा सावनी चितळे. वेलकम सावनी.
Yes, hello everyone. Good morning to you all and काय हे माझ्याच पॉडकास्टमध्ये मला वेलकम करताय. काय परिस्थिती झाली आहे माझी.
अगं हो, पण काय आहे ना, हा जरासा हेवी टॉपिक आहे. एक सायंटिस्ट आहे आपल्याकडे ह्यावेळेस वुमेन ऑफ द वीक म्हणून. सो ज्या लोकांनी सायन्स 10th स्टँडर्डमध्ये केलेलं आहे ने आणि त्यानंतर सोडून दिलं आहे ना, त्या लोकांना थोडेसे हे कॉम्प्लेक्स टर्म्स कळायला डिफिकल्ट होईल. सो आय एम द वन हू इज रिप्रेझेंटिंग देम.
Right. You will be there to remind me to simplify the terms so that the listeners would not make this episode into a lullaby and, sleep. So, let's begin. Guys, before starting, I would remind you all to please like and subscribe to the channel. You supporting this channel by liking the episode and sharing it with everyone will really help us and motivate us to do more such episodes.
And yes, please do share a Purvakyan episode, whichever one you thought needs to be shared to with others, and support the girls. So now, let's find out who our Woman of the Week, Rosalind Franklin, was.
So, Rosalind Elsie Franklin, born on 25th July 1920. Keep in mind, the 1920s were when women had just started to get more freedom in the Western society, and so they were going out more, experimenting with their looks and everything. Experimenting. So, Franklin was an English chemist and X-ray crystallographer.
What? Crystallographer. What's that?
Well, they are people who study the molecular structure of a crystal. Molecular structure as in like the smallest particles structure. So her work was central to the understanding of the molecular structures of DNA, RNA, viruses, coal and graphite.
I think this is too complex to understand, as these are education podcast with little entertainment. So can you please make it a little easier?
Well, let's make the terms simpler. We already know about coal and graphite, right? But DNA, RNA are terms that I think we heard of, but like only on the news, these days because of the pandemic we had or have at the moment. I'm not so sure now. The masks are off. Which is COVID-19.
I've heard some vaccines, in making them, they have used the viruses RNA, and it seems they are very effective, right, Savni? Am I right?
Let's not get into that, but you're right. So to make everyone understand what DNA and RNA is, basically DNA is something that holds all of the information that makes up the entire living organism, from an ant to a blue whale. And it sits comfortably in a sofa in the nucleus of the cell, which is like the brain of the cell. The RNA is the one that goes out to do work throughout the cell. It's a copy or a transcription of DNA.
Can I give you a simple analogy which I understood from whatever you said?
Sure.
See, like, since I'm a person who loves cooking and I am in the kitchen, would you say that the store from my kitchen, which has all the basic grains and basic ingredients and the food material, is the DNA. And when I want to cook a particular dish, a particular vegetable or a particular maybe pulao or something, the stuff that I pick up from the store and bring it out and do the cooking is the RNA. Am I right? Yeah, so I will be the RNA which is picking up stuff.
And that pulao will be the type of protein that you want. So DNA is like the storage room that will never run out of supplies, and RNA is the cook, and the proteins which do all the main functions inside the cells are the various kinds of dishes you want to make, such as pulao.
Puran pori.
It's fine. There are a lot of proteins. Go watch Burvakyan food series if you want to know more dishes, not proteins. Okay, so did you get an idea?
And thank you so much for that.
Yeah. So quite an important part, DNA and RNA both. So although Franklin's works on coal and viruses were appreciated in her lifetime, her contributions to the discovery of the structure of DNA were largely unrecognized during her life, for which she has been variously referred to as the wronged heroine, the dark lady of DNA, the forgotten heroine, a feminist icon, and the Sylvia Plath of molecular biology.
Ooh, what if Netflix made a series on her? What genre do you think they would make it in, Savni?
Based on the names that are given and the story, I know definitely a mix of drama and thriller.
It would be a hit show. Drama I can understand, but why thriller?
Oh, just wait, there is a huge kettle of tea to be spilled today.
Interesting. Now I'm really curious. Does it have anything to do with the fact that her work on DNA wasn't recognized?
Yes, so let's get into a bit of Akhyan time. It's the 1950s, King's College, London. 50s was a time when women in the western part of the world were tightly fit into the stereotypical role of a suburban housewife. It was thus quite unusual for a woman to take up jobs, let alone research-oriented intellectual jobs like Rosalind Franklin. And being such a unique person in the 50s, she was very passionate about her work in X-ray crystallography and molecular biology. Molecular biology was a relatively new field with many discoveries left to be discovered. So there was a huge competition to see who discovers the base of molecular biology, the DNA.
अगो म्हणजे ही फास्ट अँड फ्युरियस सारखी रेस चालू आहे किंग्स कॉलेज ऑफ लंडन मध्ये.
Not just King's College of London, everywhere in the world in the 50s. It's the time of science, you know. So Watson, Crick, Wilkins and Franklin, 4 characters of the story, all of them joined in on the race. Watson and Crick were researching on the structure of DNA, as Crick called it the secret of life. Rosalind Franklin, was doing something along the same lines, but with Maurice Wilkins. So Wilkins and Franklin, Watson and Crick. So Wilkins and Franklin, they were to work together on finding the structure of DNA, but their conflicts led them to working in relative isolation due to certain misunderstandings. While this kind of this lone wolf thing suited Franklin, Wilkins went looking for company at the Cavendish Laboratory in Cambridge, where his friend Francis Crick was working with James Watson on building a model of the DNA molecule. Unknown to Franklin, Watson and Crick saw some of her unpublished data, including the beautiful photograph 51 that she took. This was shown to Watson and Crick by Wilkins, her former research partner.
this is not right, I think so.
And there's the thriller, right? So this photograph is very, very important. The one that Rosalind Franklin took. And the one that, Morris Wilkins kind of gave to Watson and Crick without her permission. This photograph helped them gain a lot of clarity on their research, and so it helped them publish their research. Later on, this Watson and Crick DNA model became accepted, and together with Morris Wilkins, they were jointly awarded the 1962 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for their discoveries concerning the molecular structure of nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are building blocks of DNA.
Wait. But what about Franklin? She was the one that helped them clarify their research, right? And she should have been awarded the Nobel Prize too if Wilkins was awarded.
Yeah, Wilkins, the former research partner, was awarded, but she wasn't. That's the drama. You see, when the Nobel Prize was awarded to them, she had unfortunately passed away due to cancer on 16th April 1958. And it seems it was even in debate that Franklin could ever help with the research. Her being a 50s woman.
Now that's really unfair. I think the society needs to wake up even now.
Yes, it definitely does. Again, because it was unknown to Franklin that her photo was even referred to in the first place. That's why it was even harder for her to be mentioned in the Nobel Prize. And also the fact that you can't posthumously be rewarded a Nobel Prize. So that's, I don't understand that about Nobel Prize. Like, someone explain why.
These days, I don't understand the Nobel Prize itself.
Yeah. And Wilkins, that's why, maybe, I don't know why he did not mention about him taking her data without her knowing and then sharing it to Watson and Crick. But who knows what goes on in people's minds. Well, once it was known to the world that it was in fact Franklin's photo 51, many years after this entire event had occurred, the world wanted justice for Rosalind Franklin. And so everyone started speaking about it. And here we are spreading awareness on it as well.
Yes, here we are. And thank you, society, for doing this and giving the proper just recognition to this lady. And you mentioned earlier that it was not just this work that she was known for. She has earlier done some work on virus as well and coal as well. So can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Podcast sign out for you guys. Woohoo! From 1953 to 1958, Franklin worked in the crystallography laboratory at Birkbeck College, London. While there, she completed her work on coals and on DNA and began a project on the molecular structure of the tobacco mosaic virus. This is not like COVID. It only happens to plants, so don't worry about this. She collaborated on studies showing that the RNA in that virus was embedded in its proteins rather than its central cavity, and that this RNA was a single-strand helix rather than double helix found in the DNA of bacterial, viruses, and higher organisms. Franklin's involvement in cutting-edge DNA research was, however, halted by her untimely death from cancer in 1958. Also, her research on the structural changes caused by the formation of graphite in heated carbons proved valuable for the coking industry. And by coking industry, I mean the coal coke, not the soft drink or, never mind.
Close bracket. I always wanted to say that. Well, what a colossal loss. I have to say, if it weren't for her untimely death at such a young age, she would have definitely gone on to discover even more things which would serve the humanity.
Definitely. We lost a brilliant mind at a very young age. But even with such a short span of research, she has given us so much to work on and so many revelations on, the secret of life. She truly is an inspiration. She definitely inspires us to pursue whatever your passion is, no matter whoever tries to bring you down. She inspires us to feel comfortable in an environment where we may feel out of place and to do our best. And most importantly, take photos of the best moments in your life. Who knows? You might discover something.
येस, म्हणूनच सांगते, मी सारखे फोटोग्राफ्स काढते वेगवेगळ्या ठिकाणांचे किंवा आपले, त्यावेळेला प्लीज मला तू थांबवत जाऊ नकोस. ओके, पण मला एक इथे गोष्ट अशी सांगायचं, म्हणजे ह्या सगळ्या स्टोरीमधनं एक मला जी गोष्ट लक्षात आली अशी, की प्रत्येक वेळेला रेकग्निशन मिळवण्यासाठीच किंवा स्वतःसाठीच काहीतरी काम केलं पाहिजे असं नाही. काम असं केलं पाहिजे की आपण नसताना सुद्धा जगाला त्याचा उपयोग झाला पाहिजे. अँड यू शुड कीप ऑन वर्किंग फॉर ह्युमॅनिटी नो मॅटर वॉट.
Exactly. The work that she did, even though it was not acknowledged at her time, after her time, people in the modern day still acknowledge it and are thankful to her. So please support us by sharing this episode to everyone. And before we end today's episode, we request you all to please join the Save Soil movement. The link to the website is in the description box below. Become an Earth Buddy by registering on the website and get to know the steps taken to spread awareness about the movement and what we can do to save our soil and thus help our Mother Earth.
येस, अँड आय रिअली थिंक आय एम गोइंग टू डू दिस. मी रोज एका तरी व्यक्तीला कमीत कमी सेव्ह सॉईल मूव्हमेंटबद्दल सांगणार आहे. थँक्यू सामनी फॉर इन्स्पायरिंग. अँड टू कन्क्लूड, दिस इज अ बाय फ्रॉम मी अँड लेट्स मीट नेक्स्ट वीक विथ अन इन्स्पायरिंग वुमन ऑफ द वीक स्टोरी. अँड येस, let's know more about it. Bye-bye.
Bye.